Family. It's 8 o'clock. Y'all know what that means, right? It's time to talk. So let's definitely talk about it. Big shout out to Incision, incision.care. If you haven't been there, definitely, like I said, reach out to them. Tell them Time to Talk sent you, but definitely request a free demo. Look at the modules, look at the education, look at the pieces and see how it fits into your everyday training of your techs, your staff, and see how it can help you. Big shout out to our friends at RST Automation. Again, another one of those innovative things that'll give you more efficiency, quality, and bring a new dynamic to your department. Hey, Shamu, I see you. Welcome as always. I'm here. Y'all know what it was. Y'all saw it last week. Learn to listen so people are willing to talk. I definitely, if you haven't pre-ordered yet, definitely make sure you get your pre-order in. I will be available to sign your copies for you at HSPA. Learn to listen. I mean, it's a skill that we often overlook. Everybody wants to talk. Nobody wants to listen. Intentional conversation. So that's definitely where, that book can take you. So I appreciate everybody that's already pre-ordered, and I look forward to seeing each one of you in person to let's talk the book. Let's talk, things in general. Shamu said amazing demo. I know that her team actually did reach out to Incision and they got a demo, so they got to see what the program was like. So another person that can tell you from firsthand experience what that looks like. Yes. Here we are. We're talking future trends in sterile processing. We're talking the state of where sterile processing is and where we're headed. Just on that note alone, there's so many different things that we see, we experience in this industry that we challenge, or do we? I was just having a conversation today with a couple of my constituents, and the conversation led to, so if I have a process that, I did a risk analysis for, and I say from a department standpoint, we're doing ABC, but the IFU on the other hand says you're supposed to do this. Does your risk analysis override the IFU? Just a simple answer. Does your risk analysis override the IFU to what the manufacturer says? Things like that we want to talk about a little bit, and definitely get my special guest's take on it, because I know it's going to be crazy. Beef is saying I'm using with my team. So again, people are definitely using Incision, definitely using RST Automation in our field as we speak. So if you haven't, reach out to each of them respectively, request a free demo so you can see how that can be brought to your team. Family, as I was sitting for this episode, I just wanted to make sure that you can see where we're at. I know it sounds cliche, but where we're at as an industry, what do we think of the state of the industry as it is, and where potentially it could go? For those of you who are, a part of, just my journey, y'all know I wrote a paper for my fellowship on AI in sterile processing. And, at some point, I find out the state of that, but that's going to be a big part of where we're going. Are we ready for that and all that comes with it? Are we ready for some of these newer things that are coming out? How do we incorporate those into our everyday, what we're doing currently? So when I thought about this episode, and I thought about who could actually speak to us and talk to us in a way that we would get it, I just, nobody else came to mind other than this gentleman, a very well-known voice in our industry. If you haven't, stirred the pot with him, you're definitely missing out on some very informative talks. So I decided to bring him here today so he could actually tell us his thoughts on where we're at, where we're headed, and what's next. Because that is what we're ultimately facing with all of these things coming out and innovations and changes. How does it affect where we're at right now, and how will it affect where we're going? So family, if you will, can you please give a warm Time to Talk welcome to none other than Mr. Stir the Pot himself, Mr. Jessie Lopez.
What's going on, Kenneth? What's
What's up,
going on, man?
Jesse?
Thank
What's
you for
up, my
having me.
guy? What's my
What's
guy?
up?
What's
What's up?
happening? Hey, uh, look, I when this episode came about and I reached out to you and I knew all the episodes that were leading up to this, you would find that there was nuggets in each one that led us to this moment. And I was like, I have to hear Jesse's take on this. Like I have
Oh,
to
man.
know because I see if I, okay, so before we get into that, for the people who don't know you, could you tell them about Mr. Stir the Pot himself and just introduce yourself?
Oh man, well, again, you did just a good introduction, just to keep the mind, guessing on who I am. But anyway, my name is Jessie Lopez. I am an educator and quality assurance manager. I've been in this industry for about 15 years, going on 16 if you count the animal size. It's about 22 years because I worked with veterinary practice for 8 years. Um, Mr. Stir the Pot started because 15 years ago, we were talking about the same topics we're talking about today. All the
Right.
chaos, all the craziness. So I wanted to challenge a lot of what we do because it's like we say we do this, we say we do this, we do that. We go to conferences, we hear all the great stuff. And I sit in the audience and I go, man, stop lying. We don't do none of that stuff, yo. It's like, come on, we want to do that stuff, but we're not doing that. It's almost crazy. So I went to stir the pot with that. But then on the other side, I went to show my nice, compassionate side, and I did WDYD on YouTube, showing you the
Right.
proper processes that we do so that I can get feedback from the audience and go, yeah, that looks all nice, but we don't do that. We can't do that, just to prove my point.
Right. Hey, so family, if you haven't checked out any of his stations, I definitely will run, some advertisements to let you know how to find them so that you can see what he's referring to. And Jesse, just off the rip, I just want to ask, yeah, just get right to it. How do you feel about the state of where we at currently as an industry?
We're so behind. We're so behind. I say it all the time when I stir the pot is for some reason the medical field in general wants to reinvent the wheel. We can't even get our three sink basin process universally accepted. Do we soak and rinse or do we rinse and soak? Which one is
You
it we
know,
do first? Which the
so,
chicken or chicken or the egg? Which one?
so just because you brought it up, and I know people are like, "What is he talking about?" You supposed to rinse and then soak. As it pertains to the manual, what is
Hmm.
the correct way to do it, Jesse?
According to the technical manuals and our standards, the first basin is the the wash soak basin, followed by an initial rinse in the second bay, and the final third bay is for critical water rinse. Now,
Uh-oh.
the way I
Jesse,
stir this pot, Kenneth, the way I stir this pot, you know how I'm gonna do
uh,
it.
so you're telling me that for everybody that's rinsing, soaking, rinsing, theoretically, they're wrong.
They are doing it incorrectly according to the standards. Yes.
Okay, hey, look, I just want to put it out there so that people understand. Like, this is not one of those shows where we're telling you go back and try to change everything. What I'm gonna say is actually go back and look at your standards because Jesse proves it on his show. We talk about it a lot this season. If you're reading the standards or you're going by your standards, you'll be fine. However, what a lot of things that happen is you get that passed down knowledge that Jesse likes to say. You get that passed down tribal knowledge that this person trained you that way, this person trained that person that way, and it just never got corrected. But
Right.
if that is the case, Jesse, and I had this lady dispute me a little bit about it. Like they don't want to. How do you get all that gross contamination off your trays if you're not rinsing in that first sink, sir?
Exactly. And that's where my problem is with the standards and the training manuals. Okay. This was done, honestly, this is how I feel, and this is my opinion because it's just my opinion.
Uh huh.
I believe that these standards are so old that they were put in place and never really looked at before pre-treatment ever existed. It does make sense to soak, rinse, and rinse again if there is no pre-treatment or dried on soils on your devices. Okay. But it makes no sense, and it's against the law to do so if there is a pre-treatment spray on there, because according to OSHA, you cannot mix chemicals. That is a regulatory body. Okay. Technically speaking, we're not supposed to see gross soils coming to prep and pack. We never see that, right?
You finna start stuff. I wasn't gonna go there. But I know what you're getting at. We're not
supposed to see that, right? We never see that, right? Unless you're looking at L&D and orthopedics and every other general instrumentation.
Right.
We do see the gross soils. So just like you will wash your body, no one jumps in the shower fully clothed and just put soap on their body. We're going to turn the shower head on. We're going to wait till the water gets nice and warm. We're going to take our clothes off. We're going to get wet. We're going to use a wash rag, hopefully, wash your body with some soap, and then you're going to rinse it off. The correct formula, in my opinion, is rinse, wash, rinse. So we need to correct that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it part of that said standard that you have to remove the pre-cleanse before you can soak and all that stuff anyway, correct?
That is correct. Further down somewhere in that standard, it does say that.
I was making sure, but Beef said I saw it come up. He said, I like this guy. Some of us are not having a mental block. And hey, Beef, just for the record, this is what Jessie does to everybody. So it's not just you by yourself. Current state. We talked about training a little bit this season, and I'd like to hear your take on it again. Starting the training in decon versus starting them on the prep and pack side. As the educator, what way do you do it?
I start my guys off in decon. I really do. We have my facility is unique in that we have an in-house training program where we take internal employees and we for anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks, we do the book work, we do the hands-on training, and we prepare them for the certification exam. So many people get into sterile processing, because I teach this outside of this as well, get into sterile processing, think that there's a boatload of money to be made, and that what we do is so simple and easy because they jump on some YouTube channel and see how day shift operates and it's nice and clean and this and that. And they think, oh, playing with the instruments is nice. That's the best part of the job. If you can endure the hardest part of the job, then you're going to be a great tech. Right. I've had so many technicians start off in prep and pack, loving it, until that first day in decon, and I just wasted 3 weeks of training. Now you go to decon and you're ready to jump ship. Nah, I want you to jump ship right away, because if you can't handle decon, I don't want you in my facility.
Now, truth be told, that is what a couple of the people that have came on, and they said that's kind of the same reasoning. Like, you don't want to waste all these weeks, then get to this point, and then the person now realizes, like, hey, this is harder than I thought, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I guess that part goes back to something I think you brought up in another show or something we did, and you were like, there's no universal standard for training.
That is correct.
Everybody trains differently, but ultimately we know what the end goal is. You want a seasoned tech at the end of it, but because there's nothing standardized and people are jumping all over the place, it leaves us to our own devices, and this is where we get this is what we are left with. And on that note, how do you feel about current state, people who go to YouTube and TikToks and everything for their education?
Beware of false prophets. That's all I say. Beware of false prophets. Everyone wants to be a YouTube star, including myself.
Right.
But something, everyone has that, and I don't know if you have it on your name, but I'm trying to look right now, that SME on there.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't do that to myself. I learned.
I'm not there right now, even though, I do consider myself one of those, because I do help. I've been invited to Chicago a couple of times to help do the tests and stuff. I do consider myself one of those, but everybody. But again, everybody can't do that. And you got a round of applause. I heard it that everybody ain't a subject matter expert. I do.
That's right, sir. And I would never put those initials. So many people say, "Oh, you need to put that initial behind your name." I will never. You'll see everything else but those initials because we're always learning.
Right.
To me, a subject matter expert is they have the formula down pat. They can tell you how things are going to go. Every facility is unique. Every technician is unique. We don't know all those angles yet.
Hey, you gotta preach it, Jesse, and then you gotta yes, that's what I'm talking about. See, you stirring the pot with the right people, Jesse. I
Thank you,
love
sir. Thank you,
it. Hey,
sir.
but
I'm liking it.
now,
I'm liking it.
now what I would say is this: if somebody, I'm gonna say 20, 30 years into the business, and they know, their lane and have all the certifications, lean sigmas, and everything, do you consider them a subject matter expert? And I'll get this comment, and then you can comment. Sharon Green Golden said, "You must know that person teaching has the knowledge. You must know that the person teaching has the knowledge." So that's to my point. If the person's been in the business, you've seen them out in the industry doing a bunch of things, and you can kind of relate. Does that exclude? Is that the exception to the rule for the SME?
No, sir. Because let me tell you something. I worked for the Kellogg company making waffles, and I was there being trained by a 30-year veteran who had no clue the difference between a disinfectant and a detergent when they were cleaning. I learned my knowledge off of YouTube, and I became the head sanitation manager over him, learning something off of just regular knowledge. What I learned in school. Experience means nothing. There are so many people out here in the field that's doing this for 30 years. And when I showed them how to do a tap test, they were like, "What are you doing?" Really?
Uh-oh.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Really?
Sharon, I went away real quick, but Sharon says there are experts in every industry. Green Golden is an expert. Jamel Ross is an expert. Experts are experts because they keep learning.
I disagree, sir. I disagree. I disagree.
I'm reading the comments. I'm putting them
Yeah,
out
I
there.
know. I got it. And let me tell you, there's some big names in the industry, and we've had our conversations. But yeah, I don't believe none of them are experts. They're not, because again, we don't have the formula down pat. Yes, they have extensive knowledge that they can give down to the next person, and I've learned a lot from them as well. I have. There's all great teachers in this field. People learn from me. But when somebody says, "Oh, you know something," we go, don't give me that title. I don't deserve that title, and I'll never deserve that title.
I mean, Sharon Green Golden just said, subject matter expert means you are constantly learning. You just met the wrong person.
We can say that. We can say that. But again, that is a self-given title. It is a self-given title. Okay. And again, it's one of those titles that you say you can make a definition for whatever way you want. I prefer subject matter educator. Okay. Subject matter educator. Because as an expert, yeah. Yeah. Nah.
Okay. She says no. Like when I asked you the question about the person that's done all the years, have all the certifications, she said, no, it means that you have extra knowledge above the basic person. Yes, no one knows everything. I learn every day. And that's a true statement. I think that as long as I've been in the business and everything that I've accomplished, I still learn something every day too. So I do get your point. I agree to disagree. I do look at Green Golden, Ms. Ross, and them as subject matter experts based on, the things that they've done and teachings that they've taught. So, but hey, I get why you say what you say, and that's why we stir in the pot a little bit, because
that's right, sir. Let's keep it going.
It's the current state of what we see. I had a gentleman on last week who was from Nigeria, and he was talking about like they don't have some of the modernized stuff that we have right now. So current state, you say we're behind. What are we behind?
We're behind of all this technology we're talking about, all these standards that we preach and we talk about, and that we utilize this method and we're doing this, or we're still behind on even following the IFUs as they are written in black and white. We haven't even gotten to that state where we can follow an IFU as it is written. Take the state of orthopedic instrumentation.
Okay.
Their IFU state you must, not shall, should, could. You must clean the instrument separate from the container and the case it comes in. Show me a facility that does that. Show me a facility that takes all their ortho instruments out of a Synthes Matrix mandible set. 768 instruments in there. Show me a facility that does that.
So
And then I'll shut up.
So you're saying that as the current state of it is, we're not even following the IFUs correctly.
Correct. Are we above many places? Yeah. I mean, I recently spoke in Nigeria about technology. And one of the technicians there was like, I appreciate your talk, but you're preaching to the wrong crowd. We're nowhere near that. We're still wrapping sets in brown paper bags. So for you to talk to us about sonics and robotics, yeah, we're not there.
Conversation of different crowd. Beef is saying that we are behind in how we even view sterile processing.
I agree. Now, Come on,
I agree to the point of I know that there's a lot of people who don't know what sterile processing is. So they view it as, and I hate this term, and everybody knows I hate it, that dishwasher term. I can't stand it. But a lot of people don't know what we do as is. So the view of what sterile process is different. And I couldn't see what it said. And they said Sharon Green go to Jessie are 10 toes down. We stand on business today. We here. I saw Sherry said something else. I get it when it comes back up, but definitely she says say we in general, not everyone, understanding that this field is not regulated.
Regulations.
Here we go.
Regulations mean nothing. I hear so many people saying that we want to regulate this industry. How many people drive the speed limit? That's a regulation. How many people are still soaking without rinsing? We're mixing chemicals. That's a regulation. How many people jaywalk? That's a regulation. Regulations does not mean that we're going to do things better. We're not. We're still going to break the rules because human nature and the way sterile processing is in today's state, we always want to go faster and never give the time allocated to do the right thing. If you're getting 30 loaner sets in your decontamination area and you have 4 washers, you should not be able to complete those 30 loaners in one shift. You should not. It's impossible if we're following the IFUs correctly. So yes, I do say everyone until someone shows me that they're doing it the right way in the IFU. Because when they're saying it, I'm going to tell you in your face, because I'm stirred at pot, that you're lying to me.
So
you're lying.
So what you're telling me is, and I just got that, Angus, I just had to put it all together, but I got it. So if a revision is going to happen, and they bring me 30 loaner sets from the outside.
Yes.
You're saying that if I'm following the IFUs 100%, I should not be able to get through them in one shift?
Nope. No.
Okay. Sharon says it's not a regulation, it's a recommendation.
No, it's not. There is a must in that IFU. When a must is in that IFU, you have an infection and you see that process, that's an automatic lawsuit. A must is you have to do it, not a recommendation. Not a recommendation.
You know what? I'm going to take this one and then we're going to go to a break. Beef, he said he is right. We have to change how we view SPD. Jessie is here in full force. We're stirring that pot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Mr. Lopez.
In a world overflowing with noise, are you truly being heard? Or better yet, are you truly listening? Kenneth Campbell, industry author and expert in sterilization, is back with his latest book, Learn to Listen, so others are willing to talk. This book isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding, connecting, and building trust. Whether you're leading a team, navigating relationships, or simply striving for better conversations, these practical strategies will transform the way you communicate. Imagine a world where every conversation leads to deeper connections, resolved conflicts, and greater influence. It's possible when you learn to listen. Are you ready to elevate your communication and create meaningful relationships? Learn to listen, so others are willing to talk. Available now.
Had to make sure y'all see it's here. It's among us. We'll have the official release date very, very soon, but the pre-order is definitely out there for everybody. Jesse, we I don't even know how to come back from that, but definitely so just to jump into where we hi Shelly, hi Star, definitely everybody's here. Sherry's back, and as a stirring the pot person, you should know your audience. I go to emerging countries and teach to their level. See, we standing on business today. It's crazy. So to that point, if people can't follow the IFU, let's say that. I can't say can't. If people aren't following the IFU, where does that leave us? And I'm saying because I know I have a bunch of people in here that do a lot of ortho stuff. And if we're saying generally that I'm not supposed to be able to process all of those in one shift, two shifts, whatever the case may be, based on an IFU, where does that leave us?
In the state we're in right now, we're too far down the rabbit hole to ever go backwards right now. You know, you see how I've been to so many different SPDs in my career as a traveler, you know, as you know, just as a regular technician. And we always hear about, you know, the 25-pound rule for the sets.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we can jam a lot of instruments into a set to make them 25 pounds. You know, and we ignore that we ignore the concept of shadowing because we don't teach it enough. You know, we say we shouldn't overcrowd our washers, but if you actually look at a washer in any facility, they're overcrowded. They're overcrowded because one set alone is overcrowded.
I'm gonna throw it out there real quick. So is that 25 pounds without the container or with the container?
That is 25 pounds with the container.
Oh, okay.
That is with the container.
I'm just throwing it out there.
If you're containerizing. So if you're wrapping, you know, you get a 25-pound set, just the basket itself. So we have to look at all those. We have to look at all those criterias and where we're at in this field right now. If today we turned on the switch and we said, you know something, that's right, we're going to follow the IFU word for word. Are we looking at IFUs while we're in decon reading them? Because I can tell you right now, I've never memorized an IFU. I don't do that.
Right.
I don't have them at my fingertips. And if any of you guys ever tried that technology that gives you the IFUs at your fingertip, get them on your show and tell them and ask how easy that process is. It's a very difficult process.
So I was gonna bring up Bluefin later, but since you're here, so in decon, if I know that is a thing and they scan, it brings up the IFU. You can't move past a certain point until that time is, you know, allotted and all that kind of stuff. So is that a wave of the future? Is that where we're headed? Because like you said, if we can't follow and we need stuff to put us in the place where we can follow, is that something that we should be looking at? I want to get to some comments, but I'll let you answer that first.
It looked on paper like it was the wave of the future. But we trialed it, we played with it, and it's one of those programs that you have to enter the IFUs yourself. So not only do you have to make sure that you're finding the current IFUs in there, you have to make sure you update them yourself. So you might be uploading IFUs in there that were 20 years old. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
so now you're back to square one following something that's not feasible. And if you don't have enough sinks and washers, you're stuck. You're stuck. Bluefin
Okay.
is a great concept. It's just to actually follow it. Man, it's not easy. It's not
So,
easy.
so to your point, and I saw a comment about it. Somebody said they actually give people credit for it because, like, just like an endo, if there's over 200 steps just to clean an endoscope, how
Mhm.
are we doing? How are we doing 40 and 50 scopes a day? Like, if you want to, if you want to, if you want to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just did a video not too long ago with a GI scope, and just the cleaning process manually was 36 minutes. Studies show it takes 72 minutes from beginning to end to clean a scope properly. Show me the place that's doing it. 72 minutes per scope. And let me tell you something, I'll stop stirring the pot. I'll shut up. I will shut up gladly.
So,
It's not happening. It's not.
so how about if you got the Olympus scope and you got an OER where they eliminate some steps?
We eliminate them, or the IFU is going to eliminate them?
The IFU eliminates some if you use a certain machine with a certain scope. I got some good comments, so I'm gonna let you say that, and then I'm gonna read the comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do have some units that allow you to speed up some of the steps. You got to remember, most of the IFUs are written to not encompass the new technologies that are out there. It talks about manually flushing, and that's what one of my videos showed, the actual step-by-step IFU with manual flushing, not including the actual scope buddies and flush automated flushing. It still doesn't shorten that time up, because now you have to connect all these connectors and do all these extra steps here.
Not if I have an OER. You don't have to do any of that.
You're skipping the manual cleaning?
If you have an OER and you're using an Olympus scope, all you have to do is the brushing.
Okay.
And then the machine does everything else.
But you still have to flush it.
No, you don't. Not per Olympus.
So you're brushing dry, no water?
I mean, you're in a sink. You have it in the sink and you're brushing, but you don't have to do the rinsing and all that. You don't have to do
no way to put. How did you get water
that.
down your channels? How did you get water down your channels?
What you mean? I'm just telling you. I'm just looking at the IFU. There is no flushing. I'm just telling you, like,
so
if you read the IFU.
Mm-hmm. So if you're not putting any fluid in your channels and you're brushing, okay, again, let's look at these high infection rates with endoscopes. They say it in our standards, even ST79 even tells you in a note, OERs or automated cleaners do not take place of the manual cleaning step. So regardless of what they say, we should still be following that. And I got a video I'm loading up later on today to show y'all how efficient that cleaning cycle and AERs are.
All right, so let's get to your comments, sir. You got a bunch of them here. There's one link that one user said they're not doing all of the steps. I saw something from Ringo, then from Carol Malone. You have a bunch of people here with comments. So as Carol Malone, the Bluefin again was not user friendly, required a lot of it, as did not communicate with the tracking system. Sharon Green Golden said you can only make sure you are doing the process correctly, best as possible. I had my IFU updated as much as possible in real time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You have not been everywhere, and I know my previous hospital team took with cleaning verification 1 hour plus. So everybody has, like I said, and again,
I've been dying to go to Sharon Green Goldie's facility to go see this superb team she has, because I've heard about it so many times, but I guarantee, we can find the same discrepancies in that facility that we do everywhere else. You gotta remember, every facility that has a Joint Commission survey, we do the stuff right. We do it right.
Okay. Hey,
Star says when eyes disappear, we don't do it right.
Star says that you're brushing underwater. So that's, you're brushing underwater. So there is a process. So That's
Mhm.
not flushing it through, but you're brushing underwater. So
Mhm.
another person said not everybody has Olympus scopes, and that's
Mhm.
what I'm saying. So please pull the IFU. Manual cleaning is a must. So
Thank you.
like you said, you got to pull the IFUs and get those things going. So yes, very good conversation. I see where we're at here. Could it be that IFUs are like medical device warranties set up to prevent lawsuits more so than to ensure service? Ooh,
That is, something, that is a good one. Yo, Sharon, thank you for bringing that up. It is. It definitely is. It definitely is. It puts the FDA even says it. FDA says that the manufacturer must validate, the user must verify, and they put the responsibility on both the manufacturer and the users to ensure that the device is cleaned and function as it originally did and properly. So with that being said, if we're not following that IFU, which is that warranty for preventing lawsuits,
right.
then the lawsuit goes not to the medical company, but to the facility that didn't follow the IFU.
And I can
Yes.
say that to be fact because I was at a facility and the rep came and did the in service, and I tell you what it was about. It was actually the stopcocks. In the IFU, it says they're supposed to be taken apart through the complete process. He stood in front of my team and said, it says it, but nobody does it. We just had to put it in writing that you're supposed to do it. So those built-in loopholes are there. So they're there. So it is one of those, you just have to, make sure that you're following it to completely. Carol says, unfortunately, IFUs are clear as mud and we're forced to interpret to the best of our ability, which sometimes forces us to disagree.
Yes. Some of them are very vague. Some of them are extreme. Some of them are crazy vague because, again, all they have to do is a copy and paste from a device that was made in the 1947s. So
Right.
if you get that IFU, that's all you have to do to put a device out of market with an IFU. You don't have to write a brand new IFU to make it any sense. And the people who are doing it never actually even cleaned the device. So they probably have no clue. It's just whatever made sense then. And they go, okay, that was okay then. It's okay now. And yes, they are. But there are general formulas that you can follow. Again, just simply changing the mentality of soak, rinse to rinse, wash, rinse makes a lot more sense when you start reading these IFUs, because when these IFUs starts talking about pre-soaking and pre-treatment in decontamination, you already know that verbiage is incorrect.
Right.
Already.
So,
but
so to that point, I just saw something there, and I'm going to tell you why that would mean something. It says, so what you're saying is that the IFU would trump any in-house assessment.
Yes.
So, and I say that because I had a conversation with a couple of friends, and I was talking about this a little bit earlier today. Let's talk about just in general. Let's talk about, say, like a container IFU.
Mm-hmm.
It says that you have to reprocess that in 365 days. Or
Correct.
180 days, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But you do an in-house assessment and you have everything as event related.
Okay.
So which one is which?
So that the IFU of that container that says 365 will give you that statement or your facility's risk assessment to allow for event related storage. So they got to give you that option, because if they don't give you that option, then you cannot trump that.
So if they don't have that one underlying statement there, then they have to follow the IFU. No matter what the risk assessment says.
That is correct. I can show. Hey, look! I can tell. Look, I do it at home. Come on, I'm Mr. Stir the Pot, brother. I
wanted to bring it up because I saw where Beef said,
I'm Mr. Stir the Pot. So I done cleaned my surgical instruments in my dishwasher at home with my dollar store detergent. And not one time had those surgical instruments come out with any rust, staining, or any kind of damage. So does that say that risk assessment overrides? So I'm going to go home. I'm going to take all my surgical instruments home and I'm going to clean them because they come out better than when I do it in a facility. Can't do that. Can't do that.
Sharon says, as a team of professionals, our job is to help people do better, enhancing the process share to teach, to motivate others, to take your knowledge and help strive toward patient safety. So yes, if these are things that we see and things that we know, and I mean, and again, it's okay to challenge, because again, that's how we get to some of the real answers of stuff.
Yep.
Like just like you said, to the risk assessment versus if that verbiage isn't in the IFU, then you should be following the IFU.
Correct. And again, that's my whole premise of Stir the Pot is not to say that what I'm saying is 100% correct, because it's not. It's not. I want people to think about what they're doing. Yes, we should promote to teach people to do better, but we have to do it as a collective. One voice doesn't do it. That's what the whole Amy Standards Committee is about. A group of individuals talking it out and consensusly coming to a consensus saying, okay, this is the process that we're going to follow and promote. But do we get it right all the time? No, we don't. We don't get it right, man. We don't. We don't.
I've been in that room. Yeah, we don't get it right all the time. Family.
No, we don't.
If you are here, comment, and Jessie's here, so I'm going to let it happen. Comment, Stir the Pot, so I can get you registered for tonight's drawing. If you're in the section, definitely comment, Stir the Pot, so we can get you into tonight's drawing. Jessie, I wanted to talk about future tense a little bit. With the introduction of like AI into our field, what do you see changing?
It really, I see a lot changing. AI is rapidly coming into our industry, with identification of instrumentation and even sets, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing in the right hands. If you're still like processing robotics and you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, or you are processing orthopedics and you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, you shouldn't even be thinking about AI yet. So a lot of people want to jump ship and jump into this AI space. Problem is we have to get the basics down right before we go into it. It's dangerous at some point, and it's very beneficial. It can go both ways.
Since you brought it up, I want to ask you a quick question. Just going to backtrack a little bit. You brought up robotics and stuff like that. How do you get people to understand just even the cleaning of a robotic arm and the time that it takes? Mm-hmm. And then you're scheduling all these cases. And like you said, if you don't have the proper number of sinks, workstations, or whatever, and you're bogged down, how can we expect to be turned over a lot of stuff? Like, how can you be expecting all these turnovers if you have to let this soak for such amount of time, rinse for this amount of time, soak again, go into sonic for this amount of time? Because it takes a little while to just reprocess a robotic arm.
Definitely. And again, that concept comes with, do you have the tools to be able to guarantee that you clean them right? Can you look into a robotics? I mean, you can get a borescope down there, but are people doing it? Is there there's cleaning verification tools to go down there. Are people doing it? No, that's time consuming. Do the people, when you're really cleaning, are you waiting that 30 minutes? No. So I tell people, when we clean what's visible and non-visible. And the way I teach people this concept is I grab 2 spoons, I turn around and I put one in my mouth and lick it really good and wait till the air dry and give them both to them and say, which one is the clean spoon? Because if you're not verifying which one's clean, then you should be following that IFU to make sure it's clean. If it tells you you're soaking for 30 minutes, it's because there's something hard in there that's difficult to come out.
I saw somebody said that's gross, Jessie. Don't be doing that.
That's right.
Beef also said that AI will actually normalize the language between the SPD and the OR. What do you think about that AI and bringing together that relationship? We talked about this a little bit last week, that relationship between the OR and SPD.
I mean, I come from the OR, and I was blessed to be able to work in the OR and SPD at the same time. And I see the beauty of being able to collaborate, because one hand feeds the other. We can't do our jobs without one another. AI can help that language happens, but again, we still don't have facilities that SPD is using the tracking system and the OR isn't adopting that tracking system. So,
Right.
you know, we're doing all this work behind the scenes, but they're just saying, oh, we're just going to open the set and do whatever. You know, it's the beauty when they collaborate with that flow. So if they're not going to use that AI, we're back to square one.
Right. Hey, family, definitely put your comments in. Stir the pot, stir the pot, stir the pot so we can get you into the drawing for tonight. Jessie, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back and let's talk a little bit more about future state of where we're going. Family,
Yes, sir.
here we go. Again, family, you've seen it right there. Incision.care. Definitely go there, request your demo. A couple of users in the space tonight, and they can tell you their own experiences with it. But Incision.care, they cover, you know, the 6 major functions of SPD through 21 modules of, you know, instructor-led education. Definitely check it out. Tell them Time to Talk sent you. We are here with Jessie, and definitely he has been stirring the pot. People are definitely getting what they came here to see. Jessie, right before the break, we were talking about AI and this induction into sterile processing space. One of the things that came out of the comments was improving the plain language between the SPD and the OR. We talked about it last week. I had a doctor on the show, and as I told him, and I said in that show, everywhere I go across the country, whether it's speaking at a chapter, speaking at a hospital, or just visiting hospitals for what I do for work, everybody says the same thing. That relationship is broken. Can it be fixed, Jessie?
It can definitely, man. Let me tell you something. I'm a living legend with that, man. I was married for 14 years, divorced, separated for 4, and went right back to my ex. So yeah, it could be fixed. If we could do that, if I could do that, and she could put up with me, we could definitely fix that relationship, brother. We could definitely. SPD and OR is a marriage, man. It's a marriage. It really is, and there's always going to be that issue. The thing is that, you know, we for some reason we speak this different language that we shouldn't be speaking. We should be understanding that, hey, we are the servicers for that department. They give us their instrumentation and we take care of them so that they don't have to worry about patient care. That's our impact. And once they understand that, once the OR understands that, and once we understand that they need to be having worry-free instrumentation, it'll be that hand-in-hand walk down the street.
But will it ever get there? Because, I mean, they don't truly understand what we do or like I said last week, we wouldn't be getting a phone call in 3 minutes after you sent the tray down asking, is it ready? Do they truly understand what you do?
No, they don't, because that's why I made up WDYD CSP. When I tell people I'm a sterile processing technician, they go, what do you do?
Right.
Right in the medical facility. But here's the thing about that. It's when I went, and this is from my experience, when I went to surgical tech school to become a surgical technologist, we had to do some hours in SPD to understand the SPD world. Are nurses coming to SPD to really understand what we do? Are they teaching that in school? Truly, we have some programs that have it, but all they're doing is observing. Nurses come to my department, they're garbing up and we're going to decon. I'm going to show you what you put us through. And they appreciate it. And they go, you know something? I didn't know it took all this. Exactly, because all you were doing was observing. When you look at a job, it's classical human nature to look at a job and go, man, I can do that. until you actually step in those shoes and be like, man, this is crazy.
Right. I get that. I get that. All right. So before we get, to the drawings and stuff, Jessie, I know we talked about where we're at, talked about some of the past stuff. Where are we headed?
Something, we're moving like a snail. I really do. I really feel that deep in my heart that we're taking. I don't think that I have enough good years left in me to see where SPD is going to be in a really good space that we should be in. And it's a shame because I love this industry so much, man, that I teach it. I always choke up when I talk about it. But if we can't all agree on where we should be headed and how we're going to get there, it's going to be a very, very long, sad walk. And that's how I feel sometimes. Sometimes I feel like why am I speaking? It's a voice that I'm talking to an empty audience, because we actually address the wrong audiences. When we do our conferences, we're talking to the very same people who are saying, yes, I understand, I get it. We're preaching to the choir, man. We should be doing our conference. When we speak, we should be speaking to the ORs, the directors, the managers, the nurses, the surgeons. Those are where our voices need to be heard at. And there's some of us that are out there doing it, but we need more. We need more.
Harry says, I agree. SPD needs to be part of training the nurses as well as other positions in the hospital. Knowledge and nonsense says you're preaching to the choir. I saw Shan say, I rock with Jessie. People say stir the pot. Again, if you're in here, please put stir the pot so you can be in the drawing for tonight's gift card. I appreciate everybody that's here. We love the comments, and Jessie's feeling the love all the way around. So Jessie, when we talk about where we're headed, and I agree with you on a lot of those things. I was just at speaking in Kansas City over the past weekend, and that was one of the things they were talking about. Do we get the nurses involved? How do we get the OR to come down? And how do we get those doctors to do those walkthroughs and see where we're at? How do we get people involved in that process? And I know it takes voices. I know it takes somebody willing to go up there. So, I just want to know, how can somebody go about getting those OR people downstairs?
You got to find that champion. You got to find that champion. And we talk about this all the time. We got to find that person who you passionate. This industry, and just like many others, it's not about what you know all the time. It's who you know. And if you know somebody in the OR that you click with, a surgical technician, a nurse that's really passionate about what they do and they want to get that and they share that same passion, they'll definitely come down with open arms and share that information. But a lot of times we're so caught up in the busyness of a hospital. It's a business, man. It's a business first. We're trying to get patients in and out, MIS surgeries and all this technology. Come on. Knee surgeries are a one-day surgery now, man.
Yes,
It's like you get it done and you're home the same day. They're trying to make that money. So it's very difficult to stop a surgeon, especially an ortho surgeon, because they're already wired up.
Right.
To really come down and say, something, let me show you how we clean these instrumentations and why we're struggling so hard to get them to you. They're still not going to understand the process until you say, something, put on some PPE and let me show you a little something.
One of the users asked, where are you going to be at HSPA, sir?
This year, I will not be at HSPA, unfortunately, because I'm trying to go to China in December for the WHF SS conference. So my pockets ain't that deep. So I'm trying to go international and stir that pot over there in China.
Hey, just so the people can know how to find all of your channels, can you tell them how to find you, sir?
All right, so you can find me on LinkedIn under Jessie Lopez. I'm just plain Jane there. You can find me on Instagram under WDUD CSP, because somebody stole my YD there. So you'll find me there. And then on YouTube is WDYD with dots in between CSP. And that's my hands-on training channel there.
Family, y'all got it. Hey, just because Jesse is that guy, everybody that was in the comments tonight, whether you just said hello or not, we're gonna put them in the drawing, Jesse. That's what we're gonna do, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There you go. Show some love, because I felt a lot of love tonight, man. I did. Thank y'all.
Hey, so before I get to this drawing, Jesse, for the people watching and the people who will watch, what words of encouragement or advice can you give going forward for people who want to try to do the right thing? And, you know, like you said, listening to the YouTubes and finding their subject matter experts and just want to learn more. What can you give as far as advice to them?
All I say is, man, is if you develop the passion for what you do, be a voice, be a voice. Open your mouth, ask the hard questions, and definitely network. Go to those conferences, involve yourself in those chapters, and eventually, if you love it enough, get involved in AMI, because those standards are what affect us. Get in there and be that voice. Listen, step back and listen, taking it all in, because it is very overwhelming. I'm still overwhelmed going to that, but I'm Jessie Lopez, Mr. Stir the Pot. I'm going to make some noise. You're going to hear my voice. So I go in there and I listen and I go, you know something? Nah, that's not what we're doing. So be that voice. Be that voice.
I know my VP is in here for my chapter, so I'm going to go ahead and put the invitation out there. May 10th, Jesse, you in Massachusetts, Stir the Pot. Can you do it?
Yeah, no, give me the invite, man.
We've already talked about it, so I'm just making it official now.
I'm there, dog. Let's do it.
Hey, family, it is that time. If you have not commented, comment hello, comment where you're from. I give you a few seconds just to do it. If you have not made a comment tonight, Jesse's going to count us down and get this drawing going. I give everybody like the next 20 seconds to make that happen. Make sure you comment. We have a $50 gift card on the line. You can make sure you win here today.
Let's go get that money. Let's go.
No more comments. I see none, Jesse. So, Jesse, can you give us that great countdown and let's give this money away, sir?
All right, let's go. What are we gonna do? A 10 count, 5 count? What we doing?
5 count. Yeah, man. We
all
can
right.
Do a 5 count.
We're going 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do it.
Let's see who is here. Let's see who is winning.
Boom.
Yay, we got Shirley Barker Prescott. Here we are. You are our winner for this week. How this works: you won this week. Come back next week and let us know that you are here and present, and you will get your gift card. You hear that, Jesse? You see me stepping up. You hear the applause? You see me stepping up, Jesse? Time to talk again, baby.
Awesome.
Hey, family, again, y'all were here. Y'all were present. Y'all saw what we were doing. We have challenges across the board. I think it was eye-opening to hear somebody say it that, hey, if you have all these loaners in your department, how are you getting them all done? I think that's a reality check for a lot of people when it comes to what we're actually doing in our decons. Can we accommodate all of the ortho surgeries being put on schedules? Can you do it? Go back, look at your IFUs. As Jesse said, some people put risk assessments in place to try to circumvent the IFU, but if you look at your IFU and it doesn't have that statement in there, can you do that? Can you be that person to say, hey, we need to follow the IFU, we need to do ABC because, hey, the IFU says this. Are you willing to take that stand for your department so y'all can do things the right way? Again, we are headed in great directions. We still have a long way to go, but it takes all of us, as Jesse said, it's a collective voice saying that we want to do the right thing. We want to check IFUs. We want to check the standards, want to check the regulations. And as Sharon pointed out, some of these things are actually just recommendations. And I think did a show with Warren Niss, and he shook the world. He said that Amy's a recommendation. If you don't follow it, you're not wrong.
Unless you live in New Jersey.
Unless you live in New Jersey.
That's right. It's law here, baby.
So to points of things like that, are you doing what you know is to be the right thing for your departments? Will you be the voice for your department? Will you be on that wave that heads into the sunset? As Jesse said, we might not be on the train when it happens, but we know it's headed in the right direction. Will you be the voice for that group of people? Family, this has been Time to Talk. That's Mr. Stir the Pot, Jessie Lopez. Sir, I appreciate you. everybody, y'all know how to reach him. Jessie, like myself, if you have any further questions or you want to discuss something further, he has no problem letting you reach out to him. Definitely reach out to me if you have anything you want to discuss further. But hey, as we always do, I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. It's been time to talk. Go out. Hey, make sure you get your pre-order in, get your book, get your copy. I'll be at conference. You want a signature, come see me. Definitely, Jessie. It's always been a pleasure, my friend. I'll see you soon. We're going to May 10th. We're going to connect. We're going to make that happen.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
I got
Let's
you.
do it, sir.
Hey, family. Thank y'all. See y'all soon.
Peace.
In a world overflowing with noise, are you truly being heard? Or better yet, are you truly listening? Kenneth Campbell, industry author and expert in sterilization, is back with his latest book, Learn to Listen, so others are willing to talk. This book isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding, connecting, and building trust. Whether you're leading a team, navigating relationships, or simply striving for better conversations, these practical strategies will transform the way you communicate. Imagine a world where every conversation leads to deeper connections, resolved conflicts, and greater influence. It's possible when you learn to listen. Are you ready to elevate your communication and create meaningful relationships? Learn to listen, so others are willing to talk. Available now.